Welcome to the Leadership Launchpad 2.0, brains behind the business. And of course, the yang to my yin is here, Susan Hobson, out at Muskoka, enjoying the summer. Susan, how are you?
I'm in my happy place, and it's Canada's birthday this weekend. And we're launching our 2.0 podcast. I could not be more excited for today's interview. Let's get this party started, shall we?
Absolutely. And of course, we have to start off with a quote.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
have one from Jay Samit, and he says, disruptors don't have to discover something new. They just have to discover a practical use for new discoveries.
Woo! I did not see that coming at the end. Tell our folks why you chose that one today.
Well, it's because we have a special guest with us, the CEO of Blade Air, one of Canada's fastest growing companies. Aedan Fida is with us. And just as we dig into his story, you'll know why this quote fits exactly what they do. Aiden, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm very, very excited to be here. Super excited to get to chat with you and Susan. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And of course, can you tell us a little bit about you and maybe about a little bit of the disruption you've been on lately?
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. So my name is Aedan Fida. I'm the CEO of Blade Air. Founded the company back in 2017 when I was in the latter half of my second year of university with a colleague from school who immediately kicked it off with when we met each other. Both come from entrepreneurial families and wanted to start a business together right away. And my older brother, who is a master's in chemical engineering, founded the company on the ethos of driving innovation. And as ridiculous and as business school cliche as this sounds, the whole premise of people, planet, profit. And how do we make that work for us? And really, what the company has always been focused on as we have gone through the last several years of growing and changing, this has not been one of the pieces that has changed. It's been a steady constant as we're looking to improve efficiencies, looking to reduce waste, reduce both material and time wastage, and help our clients to deliver better results while paying less and being more kind to the planet.
Oh, I love this interview already.
With
People,
the
planet, profits. Aiden, for
so uh
such such a young leader, I have to ask, where the heck did you develop that 2.0 leadership mindset? Was that in university? I don't know if they're teaching this in the MBA yet, so I kind of feel like it probably wasn't. But tell us the backstory in terms of, yeah, your ascension into leadership.
well I gotta say, and I laugh about this all the time, is that I just was kind of given the position, to be honest. There was three of us who founded the company, and I was lucky enough to get the CEO role. And for a long time, it honestly didn't really mean much. But as we kind of go down the conversation of disruption and what that means, it's something that I've really had to work on is leadership and understanding what it means to be a leader. And other than trying to think differently in the approach to which we do business, and when we talk about disruption, it's how we identify ourselves as we're disruptors. And Rob, your quote resonated with me so much because it's exactly that. We're not taking necessarily anything new. We're just looking for different applications and ways in which we can improve people's lives. But leadership is definitely a very humbling experience, as we were talking about right before we started
Yes.
today. And uh, that the attitude that we have at Blade, and this is not just myself, please, this is our entire team, is that your company can only grow as fast as your leadership team does. And if you think that you're done growing, then you better believe that your company's also going to be done growing. And that attitude of constant improvement, constant innovation, and just being better tomorrow than you were today is something that we try to distill across the entire team. And like we talked about, the ego cannot exist. It's hard. It's hard being a leader, and it gives you a lot of different perspective. And We just actually finished an acquisition where we brought 10 more people onto the team. And now we have about 35 staff full time. And you know, 7 years ago, I wouldn't have guessed this is where we were today, and it's been an incredible journey, and it's the recognition of the fact that at the end of the day, business is people, and your business is comprised of people, and it's about how effectively you can manage those people and inspire those people and have them buy into your goal and make it their own goal, will determine how well you do in market. So that's really where the attitude comes from is a desire to be better and ultimately a commitment to the organization and not to myself.
It's so amazing. And Aiden, I would love for you to tell the folks out there like all these different disruptive moments because you've pivoted a few times, especially during COVID. But tell us, we'll plug folks into that.
Absolutely. And I guess I should start a little bit by also qualifying what we do. So at Blade Air, we believe it that we are manufacturing the future of indoor air quality. That's really what our premise is and what we are focused on is uh, creating healthier, safer environments for people to live and work in, while also, again, driving the efficiency forward in terms of energy reduction, labor maintenance costs, and everything that kind of falls into those brackets of people, logistics, and energy. And as a baseline, health and wellness on the IAQ side. And the disruptive moments, really, it was the beginning of the company. So in 2017, my older brother Joe and I lived together while we were both in university. And in case my eyebrows didn't tell you, I do have an Italian background. I grew up 10 minutes down the road from my grandparents. And Joe, being the eldest male child in my family, you better believe that he was there all summer, every summer for most of our childhood, helping them in their garden. And that's how he dealt with the stress of engineering. Is he developed a green thumb and loved to grow and grow plants. And um, as his engineering program got more challenging, his taste in plants got more, we'll call it unique. And we went from, little cherry tomatoes to trying to grow actual cherries, lemons, lychees. And he realized in Canada, not enough heat and light in the winter to do that. Was going to have to invest in a growth locker, which was most commonly used for cannabis at the time. And it was looked at the price tag, said, well, F that. I'm a student, can't afford that. But he had that engineering mindset of, but I am an engineer, so I'll just build my own. And it was during the design phase he realized the inefficiency with the carbon filter, where you couldn't actually replace it. You had to replace the entire cartridge. And so he came up with the idea of the world's first zero waste carbon filter just by simply innovating a replaceable carbon cartridge to it and came to me with this idea. It was early 2017 at the time, said, I think I have this idea for a business. Would you be interested in exploring this with me? And I said, absolutely, but there's one other person who I want to bring into this. And that's how Blade Filters Inc., as we were originally called, got founded. And spent the summer doing our research, calling all the retail stores that sold this product, asking if they would be interested in an innovation that would offer these benefits, and found a resounding yes. And that's where we realized right after at least my second year of university that, wow, okay, we're starting a real business now. And started in the cannabis industry, raised a little bit of capital in 2019 after we got some IP and built out a small pipeline. And then, of course, right as we're launching, 2020 comes around. And I distinctly remember this. We went out to Vancouver in late February. And on the flight there, one person wore a mask. On the flight home a week later, everyone wore a mask. And almost 2 weeks later, the entire world was basically shut down. And that was where we had to look inside and decide, okay, do we want to double down on carbon, or do we want to step back from the product focus and be more of a solutions focused manufacturer where we are trying to drive these innovations and hold true to our ethos. And that was where we decided to start looking at bringing our own line of air purifiers into the industry. We noticed that there was a gap in the commercial sector where there was nothing really designed to handle larger spaces such as classrooms or boardrooms or anything along those lines. And we started developing our air purifiers. Found success with private schools, leveraged that to the public schools, and then we had kept the domestic supply chain and manufacturing all throughout this time period, and that really empowered us to deliver more routinely than our competitors could at the time. And so we actually became the Ontario government's preferred vendor for our air purifiers. And with that, we started gaining really fast success. And that's where the fastest growing company part comes from is we went in 2019 from 50,000 to 2020, 1.5 million. 2021 grew that up to 30 million and have been maintaining in and around that ballpark and looking to grow from there. But from that period, as 2020 kind of was hitting and we were recognizing that there's a lot here that we can do, we also stepped back and looked at our business and said, we're still selling in-room purification. We are not addressing the root cause of the problem and providing whole building solutions to our clients. And we went back to market, started to look for new technologies that we could add to our product mix, or even look to work with and bring more value to the clients that we were trying to serve. In 2021, we ended up securing the single largest indoor air quality upgrade to a school board in North America with Peel District School Board. It was about 7,000 UV lamps installed over 8 months, and really built a name for ourselves in the space. And throughout that period as well, even with the UV, we still weren't happy. It wasn't enough technology. It wasn't innovative enough, and we still wanted to continue to disrupt. So we kept looking, and in 2022, we found what we now call our pro filters and started doing some field testing, some lab testing, and became so enamored with the technology and the results that we were driving in terms of energy efficiency, indoor air quality, logistics efficiency, making a 100% waste-driven process down to a zero waste-driven process. Fell in love with it so hard that we ended up buying it and have had incredible feedback from market on that side. And when we talk about disruption and market position, that technology really puts us in that position of being a revolutionary to the industry. And it's where we have to really lean into that thought leadership perspective of trying to educate the market about what's next. And this is not new technology. It's been around for 20 years. And so, again, going back to your opening quote, Rob, it just blends so well. And that was a big moment for us. And actually, just 27 days ago now, we closed our second acquisition and a vertical integration to buy the manufacturer of the technology itself. So now we have the IP and the supply chain, and we're incredibly excited about what it represents for our future and for our customers, and ultimately for the market as a whole. The last kind of stage of disruption that we recently introduced to a product market is the next evolution in the HEPA filter itself. This was an accident by us. When we were building our air purifiers, we were really trying to, again, hone in on creating that commercially focused air purifier. And all of the HEPA filters in market, they didn't have a high enough airflow rating for the results that we wanted. And so we spent 2 years in R&D trying to build a new HEPA design that would allow for this greater airflow while maintaining its gold standard of air quality. And we recognized actually only earlier this year what we had created in that, and the opportunity that it represented to the market. So our new HEPA lineup itself is what we call evolutionary, not revolutionary so much, because it's just the exact same HEPA that you know and love now, just with better airflow and less energy consumption. So we almost called it the better HEPA. It was very close. My business partner, Giancarlo, still to this day is upset that we didn't go with that naming, but HEPA Plus fit better for us. And just an incredibly exciting journey so far, and the partners that we found to work with and train, and with I can't actually speak to the financial institutions that we're working with, but some of the individuals within these companies that are leading the innovation efforts, leading the sustainability efforts, the support, the patience, the testing, all of it. It's been a great market reception so far, and we are just now focused on trying to leverage those champions into the early market adopters for this. And that's where the pivots have really come from, is carbon filtration to in-room purification more holistically, to whole building purification, to now our kind of flagship products are the Pro Filter and the HEPA Plus, and trying to reshape and improve the commercial and residential filtration markets.
And cars too. Do you do cars as well by any chance?
We have looked at that a couple times. My dad, he ran an automotive center for a number of years, and that was basically his whole career. And he kept asking that same question. We haven't got the filter small enough yet to work inside of cars, but it is definitely a market expansion opportunity for sure.
There's literally nowhere you can't go eventually, is essentially what you're saying. How
A hundred
exciting.
percent.
That's the kind of business I want to be leading. So I asked this question around where you learned how to be such a phenomenally disruptive leader, and you were like, I didn't really learn any of that formally. But the story that you just shared in terms of the backstory of your success surely sounds like a little bit of that hard knock school of leadership. What were the three biggest lessons do you feel like you learned from a leadership perspective going through all of that up leveling and disruption that you described?
That's a fantastic question, and I'd say the first really hard lesson that we learned was that you need your practices to be scalable. When we went from that 50,000 in revenue to the 1.5 in 2020, that 1.5 was driven from Giancarlo, Joe, and I working 20-hour shifts, sleeping at our co-man's warehouse. They would let the place stay open overnight so that we could keep working. All of their people went home, and we just kept working. And we realized during that period that if our entire day is spent building, it is not spent selling, and we are not lining ourselves up for success and trying to get the subsequent client and the subsequent contract from there. And so that was really the first lesson in leadership, is setting yourself up for success by really having the right people around you, and recognizing that you can't be everything, and you have to start delegating. And, like getting out of the back of the warehouse was not the hardest thing to delegate out, I'll tell you that, for sure. My back and my lungs have definitely had some years taken off of them from the amount of carbon that I have inhaled, and filters I have lifted improperly, that's for sure. But that was really the first one, is recognizing that when we were that busy, we were not setting ourselves up for success. The second lesson in leadership that I had probably came, or what I would consider a top three moment, actually came late last year. And that was when we had gone through this market and channel expansion of trying to bring distribution partners online. And again, it came back to setting ourselves up for success and not having done that properly, where all of the partners that we were working with had demanded exclusivity from us. And we spent so much time, so much energy, and so much resource allocation trying to enable them, empower them, and give them the tools to be successful. And just them not delivering on the results, and then having to strip back that exclusivity and jump back into direct sales, build a direct sales team up again. And so the second kind of leadership lesson that I learned is that you have to pave the path first. And it's leading by example, which is, again, should you'd think the obvious because you talk about it all the time,
Not so
but
much.
not so much, right? So it was just from a company perspective of lead by example, show our resellers how we can empower them, how successful this technology can be for their clients. And so getting back into that direct sales channel to flush that out, build it out, and build for success, and build a more sustainable business. That one was a lesson that was unfortunately learned the hard way again, where uh, no one is going to be as passionate about your product as you are. If you don't make it easy, then it's not going to be a product that they're focused on selling. And so building more use case, building more data, building more cases of success was really a hard emphasis that we put on the business transitioning out of the last parts of last year and into this year. And um, I would say the last thing about leadership that I really had to learn, and I got to give credit where credit is due. This year has been a big year of learning for me. I enrolled in a formal CEO training program, and my mentor Scott Chisholm is just hands down phenomenal. Like he is incredible, and I've learned a lot from him, and I appreciate that. And I'm also going to call out Jenny DeForno from Touch Bistro. I recently took the Schulich Venture Academy Venture Talent course, and she was my professor. And just uh, to put it into perspective, it's now on my professional bucket list to work with her. Just mind-blowingly insightful and fantastic. She's a rock star at what she does, and so I'll give a lot of credit there. But both of them have helped me this year to really reframe my mindset on how I look at the organization and stop looking at just metrics and start recognizing, like we were just talking about, that a business is people at the end of the day. And how do you build trust? How do you build performance culture? How do you elevate the people around you to work towards that one collective goal? Have everyone bought into that, remove the silos, break down barriers, and really just enable that team cohesion. And so I'd still say that's a lesson I'm learning, and it's something that I'm working towards. Our staff are absolutely fantastic. There's no shot that we would be anywhere close to where we are today without them, and that's why I find it so hard to take credit for the accomplishments, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the people that do it, right? And our team has been phenomenal that way, and so I'm really confident about where we can go with them now that we're introducing these. And um, a part of that effort was actually very similar to yourself, launching what we called Blade Air 2.0 in a new enterprise operating system about how we work together, why we work together, where is the business going, and setting ourselves up for success that way.
So tell us a little more about Blade 2.0.
Yeah, well,
Ooh.
I have a whole binder I can share with you. But it was exactly that. It was on that journey of self-development and realization. It's some of the feedback we were getting from the team was that we weren't communicating broadly enough what the goals of the company were. And when you find yourself in a locked room with your business partners and you're whiteboarding everything, and you are living and breathing this vision, it's a hard wake up call when the team tells you that they don't know what that vision is, because you're living and breathing it, and you're like, oh my God, how did I fail to communicate this? And so that was a big kind of wake up call for us. Of everyone was just showing so much dedication and passion because they believed in what we were doing without even knowing really where we were trying to go. And so Blade Air 2.0 was kind of a composite of that. It was the direction that we are trying to take the company. So outlining the vision, the mission, the values, our employee pledge, what it means to work here, and having everyone kind of contribute to that, ultimately what it meant to them. And then kind of creating that system of accountability. So not only building an org chart, but an accountability chart, and really taking the names out of that and saying, okay, what is this position? Ultimately, what does this position need to do? What's the one number they need to deliver on? And what are the key metrics that are going to indicate the possibility of that metric being hit? And so introducing an org chart, an accountability chart, dashboards for monitoring the business's success, and really providing the team with clarity, not only on what the vision was, but how we're progressing towards achieving those goals. And then creating that cadence of, here's when we're going to meet, here's what the meeting agenda is going to be, here's what we're looking to accomplish inside of it, and here's how we run this business together. So that was a huge day for us. And I got to say, a lot of that came from the work that I did with Scott. It came from reading Traction. It came from reading Amp It Up, Five Dysfunctions of a Team, and Jenny kind of really emphasizing the people component of all of that and the importance of that. So Blade Air 2.0 was just a reframing of why we're here, what we're working towards, and how we're going to accomplish it.
Woo, so, so good. You know what I want to hear about? I want to hear about, since you've got all of these incredible mentors, you've had the Hard Knock School of Leadership over the last 7 years. If you could give any piece of advice to our leaders listening right now about what they need to double down on and lean into in their leadership development in order to succeed in 2024 and beyond, what would that advice be?
I gotta say trust. It's the fundamental basis of every relationship, and it's something that we are so hyper focused on right now as I want performance culture. Every business owner wants performance culture, not just because of the results that it drives, but because we invest so much time and energy and emotion to what we do. This is our lives. It's not just a job. It is our lives. And I know you both feel the exact same way. And in order to get there, in order to make it a great place to work, in order to get to that performance culture and have that much fun, at the end of the day, you need trust. Trust is my tech chair, actually Paul Hunt, he provided a quote to us last week in our meeting where he said that relationships move at the speed of trust.
Mm.
Business moves at the speed of relationships.
Woo! Another mic
Such a
drop.
great quote.
I loved it, and it has literally been running on my through my mind on repeat since last Thursday.
Yeah, there's
I
no
should share my favorite quote on trust. It's actually a Dutch proverb, and it says, "Trust arrives
on
on
foot,
foot and leaves on horseback."
horseback. Yeah,
That's one of my favorite ones on trust. Now, of
so true.
course, we for
Gotta pull
folks
out the
out
big
there,
guns.
yeah, well, for folks out there, if you want to connect with Aedan, we've dropped his LinkedIn in the podcast notes. And also, if you want to check out Blade Air, you can go to bladeair.com. Aedan, is there anywhere you want folks to find you or anything? How can our listeners support you?
I appreciate this so much on the plug. LinkedIn is probably the best way to get a hold of me, or if you want, send a note through our website and just say you're looking to connect with me directly. I'm more than happy to. I really enjoy connecting with other business leaders. I enjoy the community that we build together. I enjoy supporting startups. And honestly, just chatting business, even if it's not to sell to each other. I just love talking to other founders and learning about their journey and sharing struggles and areas where we can help each other out just to improve. I think that the Canadian ecosystem is getting better, but we aren't what the US has yet. And especially being based out of Toronto, there is no reason why we shouldn't have world class here the same way they do in some of the California and Texas cities with the startup communities that they build. So I love giving back. And if you're looking to support the business, please check out Blade Air, follow us on social, and let us know if you know that there's anywhere that could use some improved indoor air quality or looking to work towards their sustainability targets. We're happy to help, and we're really focused on driving impact and change. That's our top priority.
Got
Susan, what
one.
I heard from that is you need to start a startup community out in Toronto.
Let's do it. Let's go, Aiden. Let's start one of these meetup for young leaders. This is what I think is so inspiring about Aiden, right? Like, how old are you, Aiden? You have to share because we have listeners who cannot necessarily see you on our Zoom screen right now.
I'm 26.
You're
Amazing.
26. It's so incredible. What do you want the legacy of all of this disruption in business to be someday, Aiden?
We actually have this written into our employee pledge. Individual performance collects accolades. Team performance makes history. And that's what we're trying to drive. We are trying to drive change in a very meaningful way. If you look at the COP28 targets that were set by the world leaders around sustainability and emissions, they have a target of a 68% reduction in cooling load by 2050, which is 26 years away still. We can target a third of that today and deliver on that savings. There's no reason we have to wait. Let's drive that change. Let's be the lasting impact that we want to see. And let's focus on creating a better world for everyone. And if we focus on that, then we're positive that the sales will follow and just buy in and believe in the vision and have everyone stick in behind that.
Whew,
It's so
amen.
amazing. Absolutely an incredible interview and an incredible brain behind the business. Now, obviously for folks out there, bladeair.com, follow Aedan on LinkedIn, and you're welcome to reach out. And also you can reach out to Susan if you want to do a meetup on
Oh,
in
God.
Toronto, because we're totally going to make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and Susan, where do you want to leave our folks today?
Oh, just with this one little bomb, if you're not growing as a leader, your business is dying. Hello, watch out now. This literally is the most inspiring interview. I just want to say to all our listeners listening out there, to our 26-year-old sage, wise prophet, this is the future of business, everybody. That's the bottom line, okay? People are no longer going to want to engage in a business that doesn't get it needs to be driven by a purpose. That's what's changed since the pandemic. That's the disruption with the silver lining to it that I feel like Aedan surely has capitalized on. But yeah, for all our leaders listening out there who are not currently investing in their growth and development, I kind of feel like Aedan made the business case today. This is what you need to do to succeed in 2024 and beyond. How about you, buddy?
Absolutely. And if you want to invest in your leadership development, elitehighperformance.com, we got your back. For me, I just want to spotlight all the incredible things that we heard today. The growth mindset, the ability to pivot, not to get caught in this is the way we've always done it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And multiple pivots over time. The also the growth mindset in a sense of taking programs, learning, mentorship, applying the learnings across that focus on continually improving that you just mentioned, Susan, right? And it's Carol Dweck talks about this is the growth mindset is such a key success criteria for folks who want to become leaders. And the last thing I want to spotlight as well is that transition point. And we see this a lot as we coach some of our young entrepreneurs or the entrepreneurs who are caught in this range of trying to scale their business. It's stepping out of the I must do and becoming
Mm-hmm.
a leader. And Aedan talked exactly about that around the warehouse. And this is where another point where leaders, what got you from zero to something is not what's going to get you from something to that next level. And so just such incredible lessons from Aedan. And
Mm-hmm.
we're definitely going to have you back on, Aedan,
Oh, yeah.
to check in with you and in the future, because this is an amazing interview. Thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us.
No, thank you so much for having me. Like I said, I was incredibly humbled when you reached out, and thank you for the opportunity and the platform.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And I mean, we have to thank you. It was incredible. Everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye, everyone.